For her name to be Sugar Mama, she really wasn't that sweet, especially to her own son.
Boy, this sure is sweet.
Not as sweet as you were in that nice Dr. Payne's office. Made me embarrassed to say I was your mama.
Trust me, I know the feeling.
If it wasn't for Tony, oh.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning back in. I'm back with another Proud Family character analysis, and this is on the one and only Sugar Mama. And I'm sure that she's a fan favorite. She's probably some of y'all favorites. But the thing with Sugar Mama is there's a lot to unpack with her character, especially being like one of the older characters on the show. The matriarch of the Proud Family, besides Trudy, there's a lot to discuss. And the main thing, along with others, is that Sugar Mama was another form of comedic relief on the show, right? But it was often at the expense of her own son, Oscar.
Ow! You hit me! I'm calling child services!
You a snitch, huh?
The main thing I really want to talk about with Sugar Mama's character is the generational trauma she faced and how that affected Oscar and how eventually that might even affect Penny. Like, I know another running gag of the show was how Sugar Mama was always rough and mean and nasty to Oscar, especially in comparison to Bobby, the other son, who she showed much favoritism to, and she loved him and she did this for him, did that for him. She let him live with her. But with Oscar, she just treated like trash. Let's be honest. She had her moments where her motherly instincts kicked in, but regardless of that, she always treated Oscar terrible.
Standing there with a face only a mother could love. And I don't.
That's cold, mama.
The truth hurts, boy.
And the way many would explain it is tough love, right? Like, you know, that's how some parents are. They show their children tough love. So when they get older, you know, they have this shield and this strong will to make it through anything because, you know, I was raised to be tough. But that's a major problem I see realistically because this is the early 2000s. They put this gag into the reboot, right? But a major thing you see with a lot of adults and, you know, teenagers today is that generational trauma, like the parents bringing them up, how they were brought up back in like the 80s, 90s, sometimes the 70s, and how a lot of kids or a lot of adults will be like, oh, my mother did this, I turned out just fine. My parents did this, I turned out just fine. And it's like, did they? And you can't tell nobody how to be a parent because I feel like being a parent is a job. And everybody becomes a parent in their own way. Being a parent is something you learn as you go. But a lot of influence of being a parent comes from how you were raised. And with Sugar Mama's story and the way they dove deep into that, it makes you be like, And even another thing that influences how parents treat their kids is like, especially with mothers, is the father. And with Sugar Mama, you see that with Oscar's father, he was a womanizer. You know, that episode they had back in when it was like in the 40s and Sugar Mama was in the little club dancing and Oscar's father came in. He chose her, but you could tell Oscar's father back in those days was a womanizer with many different women. You know, this is a children's cartoon, but you just had to use your imagination and figure it out, like what they were trying to say. And they even had inferences to where every time Sugar Mama looked at Oscar, she saw the father who cheated on her in a way. And that's probably why she had a resentment for Oscar, because of how bad his father did her way back in the day. In regards to Sugar Mama, her and Trudy got along most of the time. And the things with grandparents, most grandparents are that they always have a sweet spot for the grandchildren. You know, with Penny and BB and Cece, especially because they're like babies, she always had a sweet spot for them. Penny, as I'm going to show y'all later, she always had to have this balance with Penny where she only showed her tough love when it was necessary. You know, when Penny was rebellious and acted out, that's when she showed Penny tough love. But besides that, she always showed the sweetness that comes with the name Sugar Mama. You know, things like giving her advice, inspirational speeches, and it was even many times when even Sugar Mama pointed out to Penny that her friends were fake.
You don't need them anyway. Especially that little Dijon girl. She's faker than your fake friends.
So it's like those motherly, grandmotherly instincts that Sugar Mama always held on to, even if she wasn't the sweetest to her own son.
You my grandbaby. You can do no wrong. But your daddy, that's another story.
In some form of irony, the other person that Sugar Mama was always sweet to was Papi, La Cienaga's grandfather, the next door neighbor, who always disrespected her in Spanish.
Ojos brillan como diamantes opacos. Mi día apenas se puso feo.
Isn't that beautiful?
Al contrario de ti, sí. No podría pensar que me vieran en público contigo. Yo personalmente conté 6 barbillas.
You can bite my neck anytime.
No, gracias. Yo no como puerco.
Are you seasick?
Sí, solo viéndote me enfermas. Tan apasionado de todo lo viejo y arrugado también.
Tienes la cara de un león, pero también eres valiente como tal.
Yo preferiría bailar con lobo.
That was another running gag of the show that as a child watching that, it was funny reading what he was saying in Spanish and she had no clue and she would just laugh and go along with it. But as an adult watching it, some people still find it funny, but for me I'm like, damn, like he was really roasting her. And it's that whole aspect of I made a whole video about that. I'm gonna leave it up here and in the description box. Check it out. Going back into the discussion of generational trauma, you could tell that how Sugar Mama treated Oscar affected the way he would treat Penny. And I guess and he took that, and just because, you know, Penny's his daughter, he was kind of an overbearing parent in comparison to Trudy. And sometimes he had to find that balance of being too protective, but also being considerate of Penny's growing pains. But then another thing is, it kind of threw us for a loop when even Trudy became the mean parent, locking Penny out the house. And she ended up having to go into Sugar Mama's house to get taught a lesson.
Hey, Mama, open the door. Something's wrong with my key.
We changed the locks.
Why? I was doing homework with friends.
You were supposed to be home by 8.
Daddy!
I'm sorry, baby girl. She didn't give me a key.
Oh, come on, guys. Stop playing.
You're grown. Figure it out.
Daddy! Man, this is messed up.
Here's some money for bus fare. Go to Sugar Mama's. I gotta go. Keep your head up, baby girl.
As I discussed in an earlier video, that threw a lot of people off because it was like Trudy was always the level-headed parent. So for her to go so far and just lock her out the house and she had nowhere else to go but to Sugar Mama's house, Oscar was the one to give her the money and be like, yeah, go to Sugar Mama's house. And in a way, they knew that Sugar Mama would be the one to straighten her out. And if you watch the whole episode, you see that Sugar Mama, you know, had her working, had her cleaning the house, doing all kind of stuff to teach her a lesson, showing that tough love. In the end, it worked, but it's the way they executed that episode that threw a lot of people off, as they did with many other episodes in the reboot. Another thing I found interesting is when you watch many of the episodes, especially in the original series, with how Sugar Mama would treat Oscar and like be slapping him and beating him and, you know, doing all kind of jokes on him. In many of the episodes, after many of those gags, she would always say, you know I love you. Oh boy, you know I love you. And in a way, that was the only way she knew how to show him love because of how she was brought up. And what I really appreciate with the Proud Family back then and even in the reboot now, if you really think about it, Sugar Mama is the character that had the most backstory episodes. She's the character that's the most fleshed out. I really liked how in the reboot, they had the whole entire backstory episodes with Sugar Mama. And the producers and writers thought it was so necessary that they had made it 2 parts. With these episodes, you got to see Sugar Mama's family history, her strained relationship with her dad, and how she became the black sheep of her family. Even all these years later, going back to visit, you could tell the tension and the awkwardness. And I know, unfortunately, this is something that a lot of people can relate to, being the black sheep of the family, being shown tough love, being the outcast of the family, and how that affects you when you have your own family and that generation of kids. Because when you watch those episodes, you see that Sugar Mama's father was something else.
Oh, no girls allowed, you know that. Now go in the house and cook dinner. I'm hungry.
I can't stand you.
But with that, it gave us a microscope into Sugar Mama's life, and made you be like, oh. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people had the reaction that was like, like those episodes were meant to make the audience go, oh, that's why she act like that. Oh, so that's why this happened. Oh, so that's why. You could tell the way Sugar Mama's father treated her instilled a toughness in her that she carried into adulthood, that she carried into motherhood. And for some reason, Oscar got the brunt of it. And because we got so much backstory with Sugar Mama's story, I would love like a follow-up, like have the father or have her family come up to visit them where they at in California, because you know they live down south and like, you know, in the farms and stuff. Have the family come back in the 3rd season to visit and see how the relationship is mended, see how that relationship with her family and father is holding up. Because they gave us so much backstory with Sugar Mama in the original and in the reboot. And that's what I wish they would do with other characters. Like I've been saying, like for all the different character videos I did before this one, you know, Zoe, Maya, Michael, even Trudy herself. Because, you know, Trudy was brought up in a wealthy family, but for some reason, she has those moments where she goes crazy and starts acting irrational. I feel like other characters deserve their own backstory. Oh, the Grossesses too. Obviously, they all deserve their own little backstory. I really feel like at this point they should start fleshing out the side characters. Like we know it's a Proud Family, it's about Penny, and she's the protagonist, but they include the other characters so much, and there's so much more that you want to know. Especially, you know, as I can tell from the videos I've been doing, it's about time y'all start fleshing out the other characters more, because those will make for some great episodes. Like I said before, I really love Sugar Mama's character. I love the funniness, the wit, the sarcasm, the comedic relief she brought to the show. But she's a classic example of how generational trauma has a huge impact on the family in the past, present, and the potential future. So with that, guys, that was my take and my analysis on Sugar Mama as a character and what she brought to the show, what she was supposed to represent in the Proud Family as a comedic relief, but also as a little scope on how generational trauma could affect you and your kids and your grandkids. And I want to know, what did y'all think of Sugar Mama's character? Like, what were y'all favorite gags of Sugar Mama's character? What do you think about the way she treated Oscar, especially in comparison to Bobby, and how Papi treated her? Did y'all enjoy those backstory episodes when they went to visit her family? You got to see why and how she became the black sheep of her family? And would you like more backstory episodes? What other characters would y'all like backstory episodes for? Because they really give us a deeper look inside the characters. And to me, those be some of the best episodes. Now with backstory episodes, they can tend to get a little cliche with the way it's set up and like the common tropes you'll find. But I'm pretty sure they will handle those type of episodes better than discussing topics like colorism or interracial dating. Most of y'all should already know what I'm talking about. And with that, please let me know your thoughts down below. This should be a really interesting topic because I know a lot of people that watch the Proud Family, all different demographics, all different ages, and I'm interested to see what y'all think about Sugar Mama and the whole topic of generational trauma and how you relate to that, or even being like the black sheep of the family, or knowing the black sheep of your family and how that affected you and them. Please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching and listening. I'll see y'all in the next video.